Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to go over a couple articles that have infuriated me to no end for multiple reasons. Particularly this first one hits kind of close to home. I'm not going to go into it for privacy's sake, but we'll say I'm close to a person that is involved in trying to get a kidney themselves. Now, before we get started, I am not a medical professional. I'm not here giving medical advice or anything of the such. Please, if you have any questions, talk to your doctor. That's all I'm saying. Talk to your doctor, make an informed decision on what you wish to do. That's on you. I am not saying one way or the other. Just talk to your doctor. Now, let's get into this one. Virginia hospital denies unpoked patient spot on active kidney transplant list. Terminally ill man refused the vaccine after contracting COOF. Shamgar Connors, 42, has a husband and father of two. He and his wife, a nurse, decided against taking the poke after the entire family suffered through the disease last year. However, a doctor at University of Virginia Hospital allegedly told him that despite his prior infection, his unpoked status will not allow him an active spot on the list for a life-saving kidney transplant. Art said, "You're not interested in the poke." UVA Hospital's Dr. Karen Warburton said to Connors, according to the recording obtained by Fox News Digital, "So it is a requirement for you to be active." Going over who this person is, according to the UVA Hospital website, Dr. Warburton is an associate professor with an American Board of Medical Specialties certification in nephrology, a specialization of internal medicine focused on the kidneys. Her clinical practice is centered on pancreas and kidney transplants. Connors had stated, "I just had the COOF, so why would I get the poke?" Connors responded on the phone. However, the hospital did not budge, according to Connors. Now it was talking about that he had it, and he had where he may have had this version of it, and that may not protect you against the newest variant, which is what we're seeing now. Dr. Warburton continued on the recording from January 6th. All right. Quite frankly, all right, let's get into what he actually has. You have Connors told Fox News Digital he was diagnosed with stage 5 segmental glomerulosclerosis. Rare condition, a rare and dangerous condition, and since there is no cure for it, and right now he's managing himself with a scarred and irreparably damaged kidney, but there is no cure for this at all. The FSGS is a disease in which scar tissue develops on the glomeruli, the small parts of the kidney that filter waste from the blood. FSGS can be caused by a variety of conditions, according to the Mayo Clinic. FSGS is a serious condition that can lead to kidney failure, which can only be treated with dialysis or kidney transplant. Treatment options for FSGS depend on the type you have. Without a transplant, Connor's kidney will eventually fail in the long term. However, he won't be eligible for a transplant until he is made active, and this psychotic doctor, who I guarantee you she has a tramp stamp on her from either Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson, because what person in good conscience can say, well, if you don't take this shot, if you don't do this, if you don't obey and do what we tell you on getting this for something you may or may not get again, then we won't do an operation that will actually guarantee that you'll actually live longer. Because without this operation, you will die. This is strong arming, and quite frankly, he got so frustrated at one point that he flat out stated he'd rather die from kidney failure than bend the knee to these psychopaths. And quite frankly, I don't blame him. That this is beyond ridiculous. I mean, he's been on as he states, I was technically on the transplant list for 3 years. I was inactive on the transplant list until I started dialysis. Then I became active. So that was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, he got put on the active list. And this woman's saying, well, basically, what doesn't matter. You're either you learn to obey and do as I demand, as my benefactors that fill my bank account do, and as Saint Fauci has ordered me to comply with doing at all times, or you get to go home and die of kidney failure in front of your kids, who you'll never get to see to grow up because you don't have a poke that for something that you may or may not ever get again. Whenever you have, after his call with Dr. Warburton, Connors said he then tried to file a religious exemption crafted with the help of the couple's friend, a pastor, to UVA, but it was not accepted. Yeah, because they want obedience. They don't care about what's with you. The couple said they were contacted by attorney Kirk McKenzie, who is allegedly gathering similar cases for lawsuit. Now, this isn't a rare incident. This is something that is going on here in a lot of cases of it. But I'm going to highlight a second one. But all I know is that this is madness. This is absolute lunacy. Like this one right here, man removed from heart transplant list for being unpoked. And the whole time they're saying, well, we do everything we can to ensure that a patient who receives a transplanted organ has the greatest chance of survival. A spokesperson said, yeah, right. Let's go for it. According to the man's father, which this man is, he's a Boston man who has been removed from the heart transplant list because of his poke status, CBS Boston reports. According to the man's family, DJ Ferguson was once on the list to receive a heart at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, but due to his poke status, he's been removed. Okay, let's see. According to the man's father, he does not believe in getting the poke. It's kind of against his basic principles. He doesn't believe in it. It's a policy they are enforcing, and so because he won't get the poke, they took him off the list of heart transplants. David's father, David, father of DJ, told CBS, my son has gone to the edge of death to stick to his guns, and he's been pushed to the limit. Now, in his case, it's more than just, the wording on that doesn't quite cover it. Because, you're talking about we are aggressively pursuing all options, but we are running out of time, David said. I think my boy is fighting courageously, and he has integrity and principles. He really believes, and that makes me respect him all the more. It's his body, it's his choice. Something that these people don't believe in anymore. They say, oh, my body, my choice, but when it comes to this, no. It may be your body, but it's our choice. The CDC recommends that immunocompromised people, which includes organ transplant recipients, get the poke, especially because they are especially vulnerable to it. Well, there's a catch. And let me see where I can get to it. After running countless tests and scans, we learned that DJ is now in severe end-stage heart failure, meaning that he's going to need a heart transplant to live. On top of the heart failure, his heart is extremely swollen and dilated, which puts him at high risk of cardiac arrest. The good news is that he went through all the testing to be put on the transplant list and passed with flying colors, since he's young and healthy aside from the heart failure. With that being said, he was accepted to be a candidate for heart transplant. The poke typically causes swelling in the heart, usually temporary for most people, no big deal, right? But in DJ's case, he cannot afford his heart to swell any more than it already has right now. He is at extremely high risk of sudden death. If it does, we could have many conversations with doctors who confirm. We have had many conversations with doctors who have confirmed that his heart could swell and go into severe crisis, but they can't guarantee anything, and it's a choice we will have to make if he wants to be listed. She continues, we are devastated. We can't even process this. I haven't even found the courage to sit down with my son and explain what's happening to his father. I cannot even start to describe it. I mean, lastly, I want to add that despite the decision from the transplant board, he is in the best place possible. His nurses and doctors have been nothing but compassionate and amazing to him. This is crap. This is a person who, quite frankly, it may kill him to do this, to do it, to take it from swelling, which he can't have anymore. So you got two people. You got the first one that they're basically telling him, well, say goodbye to your kids and that horrible, painful death from kidney failure. And you got this one who, well, his chest is a ticking time bomb. Both of them won't get to see their kids grow up because some people on a medical board decide, nope, on the transplant board decide, nope, he hasn't been poked. He hasn't complied with everything we are demanding. He's passed everything else. He's got through every other step of the process, but he doesn't have this thing that he may not get ever, a poke for something he may not ever get again or may never get, but that doesn't matter. And then you got the last one I'm going to go over. Now, this one is the LA Times columnist doubles down on mocking deaths of the unvaccinated. Yes, this Michael Hiltz tells CNN every death is a teachable moment. Really? I mean, this is a person who is saying that, who has stated in other articles that, quite frankly, they need to start mocking those that don't have the poke. Saying that mock in her column, which you can look up on the LA Times, which they have edited since then. Luckily, some people have archived it. She was talking about mocking the anti-pokers. Death is foolish, yes, but necessary. Oh, but you deem anybody who says they don't agree with mandating it as anti. You say anybody who can't take it for whatever health reason is anti. So we got to mock them too. What type of horrible, horrible person is this? To think, not this one right here. This is Stark County DA. What type of horrible person is this to say, well, I am better than you? And who needs to have some compassion for those that may have died with it, but just as the same person who at one point, as we will see rather quickly, this holier-than-thou person made a comment in 2020. She published an article in September 2020 suggested that Trump's efforts to expedite the approval and distribution of the poke before the November election could kill us. Well, isn't that weird? Amazing. Oh, well, as soon as the election was over, oh, everybody should take it. It's the greatest thing ever. Must obey. Do as you're told. Don't disobey. Do what your betters tell you. I'm sorry. I just can't stand these people. They are disgusting. They deserve to be shamed. not harassed. Leave them alone. Leave everybody I've mentioned in this alone. They do not deserve to be harassed, but they should be shamed as far as not another dime to any one of these people, particularly to the LA Times call. Don't pay for a subscription. If you have to read it, Master Joyce, you hoist the Jolly Roger or read on some other website that has articles from them. Anyways, I'm sorry, I've ranted too much. I've gotten a bit upset about all this because, quite frankly, this first one really ticks me off. Telling a person with his kids that, hey, if you don't do as I demand, you could just die. It's okay, you die, because you are not obeying your betters. Because you're not obeying those that have been bought and paid for by the particular companies that right now are profiting heavily off of mandates. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of this. If I've missed the mark, let me know. I'd be glad to hear a different perspective on this. All I know is this ticks me off. I'm sorry, like I said, for ranting. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like. Please consider subscribing. I will try to have a more positive video tomorrow or next day. I was initially planning on doing another video on the Monsters reboot because there were some new images that Rob Zombie has released, and I really wanted to go over that. But I thank you for your time. Thank you very much for listening, and hope you have a pleasant evening, day, or whatever it is for you, and I will talk to you in the next video.